Getting an idea is phase one of starting your journey as an entrepreneur. And if not your home or your office, a co-working space could be the one for you. It's yet another place where ideas are born, and in fact not just born, but they're also validated. We are at one such place with a lot of entrepreneurs and Mukul, the co-founder of Co-working. Mukul, I'm going to start by asking you, how did the idea of a co-working space strike you? I mean, it's a concept that we've derived.
The initial founders were Jacob and Yatin Thakur. Then I took over and brought the concept into Gurgaon, right? So the idea behind building such spaces is to build a community of entrepreneurs, right? And the major focus is that, people learn from each other, get the idea validated, and, grow from here.
How many of you guys came here with just a vague idea, and then once you were here, you discussed with all the other entrepreneurs around you, and then actually eventually built up from there onwards? How did that happen? Anyone?
We had a good idea of what we were supposed to do and algorithm and the initial idea going on, but what we didn't have was validation. Since we were trying to democratize the way predictions happen in analytics or the world of data, the only people you're getting validation were from our family and friends. So it would be a very encouraging word or a very discouraging word. That validation which comes from a co-working environment, especially here.
So it's free, it's fun, and also some of you, the products that you have are also targeting younger audiences. Like someone like Akanksha, you have a product which you're focusing to target to a young audience, and that gives you validation here because you can ask people around here if they like your product or not and how they would want improvements in that. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so basically we are into designing funky furniture products by the name of Under My Roof. So co-working has been a great advantage because instead of opening up a store, so I got the opportunity to display my products over here. So it's like reaching out directly to the target audience.
So talking about that to someone who's had a major career shift, so some product that you have in your hand right now, which is health fitness, which is again something that youngsters would be interested in. Tell us about that.
Sure, Simar. Yeah, so, very typical Indian background where I was an engineer. Yeah. After an engineering, I worked for a while, and then I decided to go back and get my MBA in finance. But decided to chuck all that up and start something in the health and fitness space. So I started a company called Desi Warrior, and we're into adventure sports, obstacle runs. But the experience really has been similar to what other people are talking about, is that when you're starting off and doing something, there are lots of question marks in your mind. You're always wondering how to do this or where can I get this done. And having a co-working space like this is really useful because you can bounce ideas off of people. You can, I'm not doing rocket science. This stuff has all been done before, and somebody over here has done it before. Yeah. So the idea is to talk, you get a space to talk to people and say, oh, really, you've done that? How did you do that? And then I can learn from them, and maybe I can also contribute by telling them how I did things.
Yeah. So there's motivation. You can always run to someone else when you run out of ideas. Mukul, how have entrepreneurs taken this? I mean, do you get a lot of entrepreneurs wanting to work in a co-working space, and what is the kind of response that you've got?
We started this in Gurgaon about a year ago, and the response has been absolutely brilliant. There are more and more queries for us on each day. We get I would say about 2 to 3 calls on a daily basis, at least for the Gurgaon region, where they're asking for spaces like these. Other than just providing physical space, what we really believe in is actually build the community. So for that, we do a lot of events, like we run book reading clubs, right? Then we have lectures on finance every now and then, where, startups can take something else, mainly knowledge, other than just actually coming there and speaking with the co-workers. That's obviously a big benefit.
We've covered a lot of the fun bits and stuff, but what you fail to realize is that the easiest thing is that we can just come into this space and not have to worry about anything in terms of organizing our electricity bills or getting your internet set. It's so easy. When you think about a young person or a young group of people that want to be able to just get started with their idea and not have to worry about the nitty-gritties of administration, for you to be able to come into a space like this and just be able to set up, you can get a referral. You can also just get a different idea, a different approach. And sometimes that's just what you need. You need a different perspective. And I think having that many people in one space and that kind of cross-cultural ideas that can take place and can take seed in somebody else, it's a great thing.
How many of you would actually say that this place, working in a co-working space has made starting out much simpler for you guys? That's a big yes.
Every one of us in this room would agree with what you had just said, right? Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. And the whole idea is plug and play, right? Like was mentioned, is you can just you can set up, you can plug your laptops in, you can get started. You don't have to worry about getting an office boy on who's going to work on getting the water, the coffee, the tea, and all these amenities that people expect from an office environment, right? So I think all said and done, we're all very happy and we're all very positive about the whole setup. And I think that we would continue to work over here until we probably get large enough to where we can't fit, or Mukul throws us out. I don't know.
I always suggest people to go with the co-working spaces rather than going with the securities to buy, because you're stuck with the people for 6 and 1 year because you had to pay them securities and you don't get that those securities back. Here you just pay the rent and start working, and end of the day, if you want to move from that place, you just move ahead.
Okay, thank you so much, guys. Thanks for talking to us. Startup ideas are all around, and a $1 million idea can come just about from anywhere. Your area of interest, a successful role model, an emerging trend, or an upcoming sector. But sometimes you just need to look around for an existing gap that's waiting to be filled. It could be as simple as deciding what to eat and where to eat from. Well, that's what drove Zomato co-founders to come up with their startup idea.
We started a bit more than 6 years back when Dipinder and I were working at Bain. We saw that a lot of people needed menus to order lunch and dinner. The constraint there was that we only had a very small set of menus in the office cafeteria, and it would also get outdated at times. So we decided to go around Gurgaon, collect all the order-in menus and scan them and put them up on a microsite. And we opened that to our colleagues, and they all loved the idea.
And look how Zomato has grown. Today providing information on around 15 lakh restaurants across 22 countries, including UAE, New Zealand, America, Australia and Canada. A startup that is today a leader in its area of operation. Since its launch in June 2008, Zomato has come a long way, and the founders say they owe their success to the audience which was waiting for a product like theirs. A simple idea, an everyday problem of deciding what to eat that literally transformed into $1 million idea.
One side is the teams or the people who do something because they believe in the idea, not just because they want to be entrepreneurs or because they want to be their own bosses or because they want to be doing the in thing. And I remember people pushing us to get into e-commerce at that time, saying do anything to do with a transaction on your website and you will grow really big. You will raise a very high round of funds, the valuations will be very high. And we at that time thankfully didn't believe that the business that we are in, the problem that we are trying to solve, has an e-commerce angle to it.
Zomato is the brainchild of two IITians and former colleagues at Bain & Company, a global management consulting firm. Dipinder Chadha was 25 when he conceived the idea of an online restaurant search platform after seeing the demand for updated and collated menu cards among his colleagues. He quit his job. Pankaj, then 22, accompanied him and Zomato started in 2008. Now with investors like Sanjeev Bikhchandani, the man behind Naukri.com, to top venture capital firms like VY and Sequoia Capital in hand, the startup, which began with just 2 founders, today employs over 2,700 people in 22 countries. From a tiny living room in Dipinder's apartment to now 43 offices worldwide, the startup today is worth over 16 crore US dollars. According to a NASSCOM India startup report, over 11,000 startups will come up in the country, employing over 2.5 lakh people by 2020. India currently has the 3rd largest startup base in the world. But there's also a fact that 9 out of every 10 startup ideas are headed towards failure. According to a Forbes article, 90% of startups fail during the first 3 years of their existence, owing to reasons like a wrong idea or growing too fast. The founders say they were confident about their idea, but one big challenge was finding and hiring the right talent to fuel the growth of their startup.
So for being where we are, I think the first thing which worked really well for us was the focus which we had. We built a team which is extremely bought into what we are doing, and they go the extra mile for each and everything that they do. The first thing to understand is that money does not solve the marketing problem. So, and marketing a bad product is the best way to fail.
The startup aims to widen its reach to more countries worldwide, and the founder says that competition is never a cause of concern for him or his team. So mega success riding on the back of a good idea and some luck, and to imagine it all started with outdated menus.
We will continue to explore more spaces and ways in which a startup idea is born, but before that, let's slip into a short break.